Alright, let's see how we go this time. Just going to keep following this. It's almost 2 a.m. where I'm at. So I think it's got to be around 8 p.m. 7:30. Almost 7:30 in Iran, apparently. 7. Looks like everything's running. We'll just see if anyone comes in for a live discussion as the news breaks. US President Biden going to the White House for emergency meeting. Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdollahian was also on board. Still no news. The word Iranian is trending. Someone says it doesn't seem like we're going to hear good news about President Raisi. Prayers from India. Let's go to... We'll click on the Iranian trend word and look at the latest coming from X, also known as Twitter. Iranian local Farsi news blamed bad weather for a hard landing. No casualties reported. Iranian Chief of Staff instructs the Iranian Republican Guard Corps, the army and the police to employ the capabilities to search for the president's helicopter. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, has expressed deep concern. I wouldn't trust that guy, I gotta say. Someone says the Iranian president is safe. The Iranian president has been found. Another tweet. Is this breaking news? From literally 10 seconds ago. Someone said the rescuers should be able to reach the site in the next 30 minutes. A couple of tweets just over the last minute saying he's been found. Let's keep refreshing. We have footage of rescue teams, but we don't have footage of the site of the incident. I don't want to use biased search terms, so I'm just going to see what comes up under the word Iranian. Iranian Supreme National Security Council has held a meeting about the incident. Massive geopolitical ramifications if there's any belief that this was an act of sabotage, even if he has survived. There were terrible weather conditions, very, very foggy and rainy, and mountainous terrain. We should remember that. Rescue teams will arrive within half an hour, says Al Jazeera. Memes are coming out. It's been described as a hard landing, especially early reports. Claims members of the entourage in the helicopter were able to communicate. But that doesn't explain why there's no news on the president being alive or not. INA, it's I think an Iranian source, reports Dismar Forest is the exact location. Of course, I am reading English language tweets. The initial info will come out in Farsi. One account saying that Raisi has died, and so is the foreign minister. You know, we're getting the opposite claims, mutually exclusive claims coming through, and we're trying to find out what the truth is. Perhaps both sides are just making things up, and no one really knows yet. It was a 3-helicopter convoy. Only the president's helicopter went down. So it looks like they're going to walk in a rescue team. It's not that far from the road, like maybe a couple of kilometers. These did happen 2.5 hours ago, so now it probably takes, if it's, not exactly next door to a big city, it's going to take a while for the rescue team just to get to the general area. So that's happened. Now I suppose they have to try and find the location on foot in very, very poor visibility. I don't know what the technology is for finding this location from space with a satellite. That might be possible. People blaming the US embargo. I mean, we don't know. We don't know how well maintained the helicopter was. You'd think it would be, better than most in Iran if it's carrying the president. Fate unknown. Lots of speculation about what might have happened. Was it accidental? Was it deliberate? What is the fate of the Iranian leadership? It was at the scene, they were visiting a dam, I guess a hydro dam was being opened on the border with Azerbaijan. NBC, announcement of the death of the Iranian president and foreign minister could be made at any time. If there were communications coming out, and for some reason no one is saying if the president's alive now, that suggests he's not, because the first thing the entourage would say is whether the president's alive or dead. And if alive, why would they be hiding that right now? If dead, you can see they're just trying to compose themselves and prepare a statement and work out how to break the news. And obviously, if that has happened, there's a military issue that needs to be, and I just mean even from a defensive point of view. If people all think Iran would attack Israel, then Israel might say, well, we're just going to attack Iran first. So we're just waiting to learn. I'm very confused about whether the entourage got a call out or not, because you'd think there'd be multiple calls and multiple updates if that had happened. And we've now been waiting 2 hours plus. Biden returns to White House, interrupts vacation. Let's go to Press TV just to get an Iranian news source. They're describing it as a hard landing. And they're also quoting the Interior Minister, as did CNN. So it encountered difficulties, was forced to make a hard landing, happened at Dismar Forest. Rescue reached the area after an hour and started operations. They've got K9 teams, drones, searching for any trace of the helicopter. They can't fly their own helicopters because of the conditions. They did deploy one emergency helicopter, but it was forced to return as it was unable to land due to heavy fog. 2 other helicopters reached the destination safely. Yes, so, okay. So all the reports of a hard landing are emanating from the Foreign Minister. So the Foreign Minister would have had to have received that call or spoke to someone who did. Sorry, the Interior Minister. The Foreign Minister was on the aircraft. So it sounds like, if this can be believed, and we're on an Iranian website, someone got a call out or radio communication after the hard landing, but we don't know if that's a bit of a euphemism. This would be being translated, what's this, the term hard landing? I mean, how does that, did they really mean crash landing? Let's just refresh the CNN article. Not seeing. There were other people on board as well. I'm going back to X because if any news breaks, this is where we're going to find it first. We do have footage of rescue workers in the fog, but there's no footage of the actual crash or hard landing site. Mossad is trending. I don't want to speculate too much on that. Certainly terrible, terrible conditions for flying. One account says Israel has nothing to do with this. Azerbaijan has nothing to do with this. Weather conditions are extreme. Don't score goals. Don't play on the enemy side. I mean, hopefully they have survived and they can basically explain what happened. They're still saying it's going to take half an hour for teams to reach the precise location. So this should happen live over the coming minutes. Are the rumours true? Was Israel involved? I mean, I think we need to just find out what happened first. And then deconstruct it. But no doubt there'll be crisis meetings taking place in Iran, in the US, in Israel, because this could flare up. And we do know that Israel likes to assassinate senior Iranian officials, and they've been trying to start a war with Iran for a while. It's very clear. Tehran Times is denying, apparently, that the Grand Ayatollah Ali Khamenei held an emergency meeting. Okay, so maybe there was no emergency meeting in Tehran. We're just trying to find out more. I'm going to look for Iranian president as a search term. Iraqi PM says the country's capabilities are available to help Iran's efforts to locate the Iranian president's helicopter. Apparently it's a two-engine helicopter, someone is saying. Manufactured by Bell. So it's probably a fairly old one. If it's American, right? Unless they somehow got a modern one in. People on board include the President, Ibrahim Raisi, the Foreign Minister, Hussein Amir Abdul Lahian, Ayatollah al-Hashemi, Imam of Tabriz Mosque, that's a major city in Iran, Governor of East Azerbaijan Province, Malik Ramati. So some very senior, about as senior as it gets, figures. Biden has cut short his vacation, returned to the White House. I believe that's true. It's now been more than 2 hours. Apparently a type Bell 412. No one's saying exactly when it was manufactured. I have seen people say he's alive. I have seen people say he's dead. It's just that none of that's publicly coming from an official source at this point in time. Rescue crews expected to reach crash site soon. If they made a call out earlier, why didn't they make a call out again? Are they trying to get the president out of there secretly, in case they fear an attempt on his life again? If this may have been an attempt? Nobody knows. Alright, well, I think I just stop the X stream just for a moment and maybe just wait a few minutes. And maybe take a short break in a moment. I will keep the stream going. But just seeing the same things being regurgitated at the moment. But in a few minutes we'll have another look. If you just joined, I'm going to keep the stream going. I'm just going to take a break for a few minutes. I've got to get a little drink. Rescue teams are expected to reach the site in like 20 minutes. So in 20 minutes we should find out what happened and I'll be covering it. But I've got to take a break and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, I'm back. I just had to take a break. Just want to catch up on. I was going to leave Twitter for a couple of minutes just to get a bit of a gap between the latest developments. I will have a quick look at RT. Unclear what happened to the helicopter. Yeah, nothing new there. They do say the name of the vice president, which is Mohammed Mokbar. He would replace Raisi in the event that he was killed. So that is what's the run through a couple of Iranian sites if we can get them to load here. Tasnim News. Again, some people in the entourage reportedly contacted the command center, raising hopes the accident had no casualties. It doesn't say like how they know that. And what is the command center exactly? So it's not really clear what the details are of the alleged communication from the accident site. Alright, is it time to go back to Twitter? Back to X. There's a tweet from a few days ago. Someone's just retweeting it. What do you call it? If you can't call it a retweet tweet, what do you call it? A post? A repost? This is from the 17th of May, at 8:15 a.m. I don't know what time zone, but 2 or 3 days ago. The tweet is from the at UKR underscore report account. UKR report. Israeli Foreign Intelligence Service Mossad gave the list of names that will be assassinated in the coming days to the Israeli Air Force. Israel is planning to launch a stronger attack than the attack on the Iranian consulate in Damascus. -LS. I'm not sure who LS is. So this is from 3 days ago. Allegedly, a hit list was given to the Israeli Air Force. And 3 days later, again, this is all just what someone's saying on Twitter. I mean, who knows, right? But interesting that came out 3 days ago. There were 3 helicopters, only the one with the president went down. We may be as little as 15 minutes from the rescuers reaching the crash site. But at this point, All we can do is speculate. IDF is... Okay, let's not read that. State media urges Iranians to pray for Raisi. There's footage of Iranians praying in what is presumably a mosque, some kind of very large building. Could be old footage, of course. It is evening or early night over there. One account says Iranian TV is now airing emotional photos of President Ibrahim Raisi. The weather at the crash site is so bad that the 3 Iranians who did the rescue are now missing. People saying that President Raisi, back I think in the 80s, was responsible for executing political prisoners. Thousands of them. Can't say if that's propaganda or if that's true or what. You're going to see a lot of propaganda coming out, especially if he actually has died. And just over the last few minutes, I'm suddenly seeing a lot of propaganda tweets. It's like someone's just flipped a switch and the bots are out, like the NAFO bots. The bots are out, guys. What does that mean? It's raining, night is falling, visibility is terrible. Rescuers boldly marching towards the crash zone. Yeah, I'm just seeing a lot of... let's just... I think it's because I had Iranians with an S, so now I just want to search for Iranian. We'll see what comes up. One account says the crash of the chopper was due to adverse weather conditions. I mean, that seems to make sense. It's now dark and raining, apparently. In fact, NBC speculating that he might have died. Should we look at NBC? It was on the Iranian side of the border. One account says, if you think this was anything besides an assassination of top Iranian officials, you're an idiot. Well, we don't know. I mean, honestly, you look at the footage of how foggy it is and the terrain, you kind of think, why would you be flying there? I mean, you can, I guess, fly above rain clouds in certain situations, but I'm guessing, like, the weather's warming up over there, right? In the Northern Hemisphere, so cloud base would be kind of high. But they could have been trying... Helicopters don't normally fly that high, like fixed-wing aircraft do. So they might have been flying through the rain cloud, basically. And something went wrong. Obviously, helicopters are meant to endure flying through rain clouds, but It's probably not ideal. Someone's saying the helicopter's reportedly been located in the forest. I mean, I said I'd look at NBC and just see what they're trying to. NBC. We did look at the Iranian sites, now we're looking at an American site. Search and rescue efforts underway. Oh, I'm going to get the ad block shit. Hold on. Back to. I apologise if it starts playing audio. Fuck, can I block it once? Well, fuck them then if I'm. Okay. They're just quoting state media. Raisi's condition unclear. 40 rescue teams, drones and dogs have been deployed. 8 ambulances dispatched. Nothing new here. It may turn out that these statements attributed to the Interior Minister about a phone call or some communication coming out after the hard landing it might just be completely fake news. It may be that that never happened. You know, we have to be aware of the dangers of taking things at face value. Vehicles cannot pass through the rugged terrain of the crash site, so it's been done on foot, no doubt about that. Oh, here's an interesting tweet. If he is dead, power will be transferred to VP Mohammed Makbar, but new elections must be called within the next 50 days. Iran just held parliamentary election. Participation rate was at a record low, 41% nationally, but only 7% in Tehran. Wow. The population has by and large lost faith in the idea that change can come through the ballot box. So there is with Tehran this idea that it's kind of especially North Tehran, a relatively liberal, modern, population not particularly sympathetic to conservative Islam. There are people who don't wear headscarves, things like that. And it's the rural areas that are far more conservative, in the Islamic sense. So those statistics kind of make sense. I don't know if they're accurate, but it kind of makes sense. It's interesting that they would report those figures if, they're real. A lot of people would say they wouldn't report those numbers out of embarrassment. But one account says US officials believe Iranian president has been assassinated. I think that's just people making things up. Even if it was a fatal accident, we don't know that it's an assassination, and we don't think that the US would be putting that statement out at this point in time. The US might, whatever happened, the US might try and pass this off as it being an accident. According to Iranian journalist Ahmed Wahidi, contact has been established between authorities and Iranian President Raisi's aides. Is that the same report from 2 hours ago? This is just in the last minute, this tweet. Or is this a new contact? Still waiting for any real news. president. Let's search for that. We are seeing the propaganda tweets come out. True. Do you mean problem? True problem? Trying to learn the truth. I mean, this is going to break the internet if he has been killed, even if it was an accident. You know, it's one of those annoying things where both situations are plausible. Like, it is plausible it was sabotage. It is plausible it was just due to the bad conditions. I mean, to be fair, like, aircraft do fly in bad conditions all the time. I mean, I've been in plenty of aircraft that have flown through, you know, fog and rain. Um, and, you know, it's not like they don't know the mountains are there. But if there is an issue, you don't want to be in a helicopter over mountainous forested terrain in heavy fog. It's like if there's no problem, it's okay as long as you are at the right altitude. But then again, everyone who ever crashed into a mountain knew there was a mountain there, right? But if there is a problem, you can't really get away with the normal emergency landing procedures because you don't actually need a running engine to land a helicopter. We're just waiting for news. Waiting for news. More images of people praying. I'm guessing we'll learn something over the next hour, possibly over the next 15 minutes, because they estimated a 30-minute time frame to reach the site. That was about 20 minutes ago. That's the rescue workers on foot. Trying to filter out all the bullshit. Initial reports indicate 3 members of a Red Crescent search and rescue team have gone missing while attempting to locate the helicopter. Yeah, we saw that somewhere else. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's that foggy, but I wouldn't think they've met any harm. They might have just somehow dropped out of communication. There might not be a phone signal in the area, and there might not be... I don't know how well radio works in the rain. I think it probably is worse. I seem to remember listening to the radio in the rain, and it was just recently not a very good reception. How does rain affect two-way radio? Of these weather conditions, rain has the greatest effect on VHF. Yeah. Does rain affect walkie-talkies? Light rain and splashes do not oh, that's the actual modules. Does rain interfere with radio? Rain does indeed have effect on VHF and UHF. especially in the gigahertz range. So, they might be out there with walkie-talkies, with hills in between people and fog and rain, and they just dropped out of communication. Entirely possible. I wouldn't expect anything happened to the rescue workers unless they were in an aircraft that also crashed. Now we are seeing retweets of the same claims. Just to repeat, both Raisi and the foreign minister and a governor and an imam were on the helicopter that is now missing. One of the Israeli channels apparently is reporting that Raisi is dead, but again, this is all, you wouldn't trust that. I mean, it may turn out to be true, but I wouldn't trust it at this point, especially not from an Israeli source. Yeah, someone's saying you probably don't get many reception bars in the heavily wooded Iranian mountainside. It's not actually that far from the nearest little towns, but it's not like you'd expect them to have the same density of phone towers over there that we do in the West. Waiting for that search team to reach the site should be happening any minute now. We might pop over to Press TV and check what they have to say. Massive geopolitical implications for this. Even if it's like it was just an accident, but people don't believe it was an accident. So here's an interesting one. Local evidence says that an explosion was heard from the scene of the accident. I don't think sound's going to travel that well in that environment, but there was another tweet saying the exact opposite, that there was no explosion or fire. Whatever you want to come up with, someone will be tweeting it, whatever you want to believe. Someone says a US Air Force C-17 landed in Azerbaijan and now departed towards Israel. This is the first time such a trip has taken place in a year and coinciding with the disappearance of the Iranian president. I'm more interested in that tweet from 3 days ago about the Iranian hit list, or Israeli hit list against Iran. But then again, there's probably people saying things like that every day. The vice president will take over if the Iranian president is dead, and then there needs to be elections within 50 days. Plane is in the vicinity of the villages of Uzi. It's somewhere between Uzi and Ozi, some places are spelling it, and a place called Pierre David, which seems to be a single building on top of a ridge in the forest on a mountain. And Uzi is a little cluster of probably a couple of dozen buildings on probably a hilltop as well, but it's not forested. There's patches of forest nearby, but the real forested area is around Pierre David. They're saying it's gone down in the forest, but we don't know that yet. Where the search teams are near the road through that area, there's no trees. It's very arid looking, but they might have to walk up into the mountain where the trees are. And that's what we're trying to learn. Let's go to Press TV. It's very, very close to the Azerbaijan border. Press TV, they're not updating there. It's funny, like, CNN is updating all the time, but Press TV isn't. Are they trying to like hide something here just for a little while? Yeah, CNN has just dropped a bit of anti-Raisi history into its article. Just jumping, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but just trying to make people think that, trying to make people glad that he's dead if that's what happened. So interesting little propaganda at CNN. Kind of predictable. Thousands are praying. They're saying they're going to blame Israel, World War III. Adverse weather conditions and heavy fog complicate rescue efforts. Someone says rescue teams reached the area, but I think that just means the general area. I'll just go to my home, and I'm sure the people I follow will be tweeting about this if there's news. Feel free to comment if anyone wants to chime in. I think everyone is just waiting. This news has been breaking for about 3 hours now. So 2:46 a.m. where I'm at. So we'll have to look at RT in a moment, just to kind of cover the geopolitical spectrum. We don't want to just limit ourselves. Still foggy dark. It's just turning nighttime over there, so it's going to be a nighttime rescue operation in the rain and fog. Like, it's literally the worst conditions possible. I don't think those mountains are very high, though. Can I get that on the map? I don't think they're very high. How do I'll clear the measurement. And if I get off the satellite, oh yeah, terrain. So the mountaintops are like 2,000 meters above sea level, but in between them it's probably like 1750. So maybe like 1300, a bit further away, but kind of where they'd be starting from. So they'd have maybe like a 300 meter. I mean, some of the mountains go up to like 2400. So, okay. I mean, there could be a 500 meter ascent, which is a fair bit, really. It's not crazy high, but you can see why it would take good half hour. Half hour to an hour if you're carrying stuff to walk uphill that far. So just depends exactly where it is relative to the nearest road. We don't know 100% it's in the forest, but it could be. Still just waiting for... All I'm seeing is speculation about what might have happened. What we need is an official statement from an Iranian government source. Iran does have an active media scene, it's not like the government is going to be controlling everyone. I'm sure there are journalists eager to be the ones who break the news when it comes out. So I don't think we'll be left in the dark forever here, folks. Still a couple of tweets about 3 missing rescuers, so hopefully they're okay. I don't know what could really go wrong if you're just on foot, aside from losing communications and getting lost, but there'll be a ton of people there, and I'm sure they'll be found in the morning. Yeah, so nothing on... Let's go to RT, like I said. Let's go to RT, refresh. They are doing live updates, apparently. Last update, Biden rushing to White House for an emergency meeting. I do believe that's correct. Apparently he was on vacation. How convenient. Just saying. That's a good alibi. Well, I was on vacation. I didn't know this was going to happen. Yeah, we're just looking at different news sites. I think between Press TV, I mean, we can go to Tasnim again, I suppose. Where's that one? Oh, yeah. Let's refresh that one. That's a couple of hours old as well, so they're not updating theirs either. This is also an Iranian site. It's not displaying very well on my computer. Okay, this is 36 minutes ago. Iranian military forces ordered to mobilize to search for president's helicopter. The Army Revolutionary Guard Corps and Law Enforcement Command of the Islamic Republic to employ all their capacities and equipment in search of the president's helicopter. I think it's like kind of in a small area, but when you're in a small area, like it suddenly looks very big. And if it is in the trees, like finding it without any air assistance, where you basically have to walk straight on top of it, that thing could be 40 meters away and you wouldn't see it. And with the fog, especially, I mean, and it could have come straight down. There might not be a very big debris field, if any. It does again repeat this story that the Interior Minister said the helicopter has made a hard landing. The more I hear that, the more I think it's probably true that that phone call was somehow made, or radio communication. I don't know why anyone would make that up. It says he spoke to state TV by telephone. This is the Interior Minister. So maybe they used the radio. I'm guessing there's more likely to be radio ability from the chopper than there is to be mobile phone signal. So they might have made a call out from the helicopter on the radio, then maybe the helicopter caught fire and they had to abandon it, and that's why no one is able to communicate anymore. It was a 3-helicopter convoy and only the president's is missing. Anyway, so that was Tasnim from half an hour ago. Nothing really new there. Seeing a lot of tragic news on the Palestine situation as well in between all this. Not good. Let's go back and just look for the word Iranian, and we'll go to the latest, because that's where the news is gonna appear. I'm gonna just turn this audio on. Hold on.
همون گونه است که در ارتباط قبلی هم خدمتتون عرض کردم، فقط هوا رو به تاریکی رفته، همونطور که در پشت سر منم می‌بینید دیگه هوا داره تاریک میشه و باران هم گرفته و همچنان جستجو ادامه داره. گروه‌های امداد نجاتی که خودشون رو به در واقع اون محلی که حدس زده میشه بارگرد عامل رئیس جمهور آنجا باشه رسوندن. وقتی برمیگردن حالا همشون حکایت از سختی عملیات امداد و نجات دارن به دلیل اینکه خب بارندگی هست، می‌آلود هست، تاریک هم شده، جاده‌های اینجا هم اون مسیر آسفالت نیست و خاکیه و با بارندگی باعث شده که گلی بشه و خب سخت شده عبور خودروها و افراد به منطقه. و اطلاعاتی که به ما دادن میگن که اون جایی که در واقع دارن جستجو میکنن در ارتفاعات وجود داره و به همین دلیل امکان رفتن با خودرو به اون منطقه وجود نداره و باید به صورت زمینی و با پای پیاده امدادگران خودشون رو به اونجا برسونن. این مسئله باعث شده که یه مقداری زمان بر بشه عملیات امداد نجات و خبر موثقی هنوز به دست ما نرسیده، هیچ اطلاعاتی نداریم. انشالله امیدواریم که خبر خوشی به دست ما برسه و هم به سمع نظر شما و بینندگان عزیز برسونیم.
متشکرم آقای شایان مهر. ما سعی می‌کنیم در
So that was, I think, an Iranian journalist giving an update. I couldn't understand that, but if anyone did, hopefully that was helpful. Lots of tweets saying Israeli media reporting the Iranian president. I don't know how they would know when none of us know. I think they're just trying to get some attention, frankly. Now there is the word Mossad is trending, I have to say. I think that's pure speculation. at this point, given the severe weather conditions. And it's natural speculation. I don't blame people for speculating, but we should probably just be measured in our response at this moment, given the potential consequences. Iranian president's life may be in danger after a helicopter crash. We don't know like how bad of a crash it was, if it really was a hard landing versus total disintegration, and who knows, maybe these reports of the communication are false. Is this Israeli retaliation for the Iranian retaliation for the Israeli attack in Damascus? Who knows? Still waiting for news. The rescue team was meant to be 30 minutes away. That was about half an hour ago. So they should, in theory, have been there. I've got to say, though, that kind of assumes they knew where to go. Be very difficult to coordinate this rescue with probably challenging radio environment, possibly no phone coverage, darkness, no air support of any kind. And so, yeah, very, very difficult. I'm guessing they were tracking the aircraft on radar, and there would be some kind of track that they can check, and with some reasonable approximation. I mean, it's not like this is, it might not be densely populated, but this isn't like super fucking remote. Like there's little communities dotted all through this area. You know, they can get the vehicles wherever it is. There's a road not too far away. There might be a walk up a ridge or a spur to get to the location. Might be necessary to ascend 200, 500 meters tops. I suspect more like 200, to be honest. Which is like a big hill rather than a mountain, because the valleys are already fairly high above sea level. By the way, if there was a helicopter flying over those hills, like it was probably something like 3,000 meters above sea level, which is pretty high. Most helicopters you see flying around your area are going to be a lot lower altitude than that. Helicopters don't like thin air. So just putting that out there. I don't know if that really helps, but you know, it does raise the question of what is the cloud base. This is where the altitude is at the base of the cloud. I mean, it looks like the cloud base is below ground level, so that's why it's cloudy and foggy basically at ground level. But what is the top of the clouds? Were they flying above the rain when this happened, or were they flying through the rain? I'm guessing they were flying through the rain. Did the altimeter malfunction on the helicopter and maybe just crashed into a mountainside? Sounds like from early reports at face value they just had a problem and they had to put it down somewhere. Possibly, you can imagine trying to land a helicopter in trees. It would be a bit of a disaster. When you see the helicopters, like when they crash and the road is still going and it just sort of like goes crazy and it sort of like rips the helicopter apart, that only happens when the engine is still on. If the rotors aren't actually being powered, they hit something and then they just stop. They obviously brake, but they don't like exert torque on the remaining aircraft. So that's a much nicer situation. Just looking through X. We do have footage of the rescuers from a couple of hours ago, but nothing that's actually from the site. And there's a bit of a dearth of information. God knows what happened. Comment in the chat. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. I gotta say though, like, the longer this goes on without news, you know, it's like a perfect storm, right? Middle of the middle of the night might have been easier because then you'd only have 4 hours till morning. Instead, it goes down in rain and fog in the forest on a mountain, and it's just as emergency teams are assembling, it becomes dark, and now you've got all night ahead of you. So it couldn't really be a more difficult situation. It didn't really look windy, so I don't think there were high winds. I know a little bit about flying because I used to have a paragliding license. You never want to fly behind a ridge because you get rotor. That's basically the air comes and it forms like a rolling sort of shape, and you get downdrafts. And that's how the Australian singer from the Skyhooks, Shirley Strawn or something, that's how he crashed his helicopter. He flew into a valley and the wind came down over the ridge and pushed the helicopter down into the ground. Very famous problem to have. So no one likes to fly below ridge level. So why sometimes airports are on top of ridges, because you then don't have that problem. So yeah, would be dangerous flying between mountains if it was windy, but I don't think it was windy. Just looking at what the video that was coming through. I could be wrong. I have to take a closer look. But I think it might have just been the visibility or sabotage. So we will wait and see, but someone's got a little map. I think it's a rain map. And yeah, it does show like light to moderate rain in that area. And it's a forecast apparently. Nothing too heavy. I mean, there aren't that many areas in Iran with dense forests, so it probably makes sense that they get a fair bit of rain in that particular spot. At least it would put the fire out if there was a fire. So yeah, we're just looking at Twitter here. We'll do a little run through the mass media websites again in a moment. Again, also carrying the foreign minister. I mean, it would have been a very juicy target with the foreign minister on board as well as the president. Very juicy target. Do I think Israel could pull it off? Yes, I do. I'm not saying they did though, but it's within their capability in my view. Zero evidence, someone says, of Israel being involved. Of course, there's zero evidence at this point. All we have is a motive. Israel Channel 13, Israeli officials, Israel has nothing to do with the Iranian president's helicopter crash. There you go, denying any involvement. I think they would deny involvement even if they did it. They would want an Iranian response. And then they would say, well, we had nothing to do with that. Now they've attacked us. Now we have to attack them. Oh dear, now we have a big war with Iran that we've wanted for the last few years. Just saying. Oh, hello from Lombok, Indonesia. Salamat siam. Did I get it right? Salamat siam. President reportedly missing. Foreign Minister Abdul Hussein are the most prominent officials on board. Doesn't get much more prominent than the President and the Foreign Minister. Notwithstanding the head of state is the Ayatollah. People saying, I hope this is not an act of warfare. I mean, I don't think anyone, well, most people don't really want to wake up to World War III on Monday morning. I don't know if it's too early for the futures market to be open, but let's check that. Futures are flat, gold is flat, oil is flat. Nothing really showing on the futures market regarding what people think will happen. Someone says there's no tractor. I think they mean track. There's no track in the helicopter of the Iranian president. How is it possible they still don't know the crash site? I guess they mean like a GPS. How does GPS work in Iran? Because GPS is a Western system, right? I honestly don't know the answer to that. Do they use like the Russian system, the Glasnost? Maybe they have their own. I mean, they do have their own satellite program. But I think GPS requires a network of satellites. You know how you used to have to wait for the satellite to come over? Before there were very many? You probably don't remember that if you're young. GPS, sometimes you needed to wait while satellites were approaching. There's an Instagram post by the Iranian president, Ibrahim Raisi, which simply states, pray for me. You can interpret it in any way. So, quote, pray for me, you can interpret it in any way, unquote. I don't know if, I guess that means someone else has control over his Instagram and they've just written that, or maybe he wrote it. I don't know. I don't think he'd go straight to Instagram if he'd suddenly got his comms back. Right. Some people would, but I'm guessing the president wouldn't. I'm guessing that was put out by a PR person. Is Iran deliberately dragging this out to sort of create sympathy for the president? I mean, he was democratically elected. I don't know that he's particularly popular. However, there was some tweet about very poor election turnout in state parliament, especially in Tehran. Are they just milking this a little bit to try and, turn the guy into a bit of a legend, perhaps? Search for the president is underway in the area near Girdlar. This is like the 4th town name I've seen, so I'm going to look this one up. It says there are many wild animals in the area, and apparently that means village of wolves. So Girdlar. Let's try and find that place. I think some of these little villages don't have English translations though on Google Maps. Oh wait, I might have found it. No, I think that's somewhere else. I think it took us too far east. It's kind of in that area, but what I'll do is I'll Google search it and then I'll try and relate that to Google Maps. Thank you, Ezekiel Jose. No, I think it's one of those difficult translations of a town name where it could be Kurtlar or Kurdlar. Cordlar. Oh yeah, Cordlar. I think that's how one website has it. Alright, Cordlar. I'm going to copy that name to Google Maps. No, I didn't find it. There is a Mindat that's like a... There's a Mindat website that has that place. But it's too vague. It seems to be further south. So we'll just go back to Twitter, I think. Yeah, Iranian media has largely described the crash as a hard landing. Very hard if it was in trees. However, trees can kind of assist you. A lot of pilots have survived accidents because they came down in trees. They can also make things worse. But it just depends. I'm going to say if you're going to crash on a mountainside and it was steep and not flat, you would probably rather there were trees there, because if you're coming down vertical, the branches would break your fall. If you're coming in with horizontal speed, you know, they take your wings off and can cause you to spin around and shit. It just depends on the exact dynamics of what happened. Someone says Iranian presidents didn't have helicopter crashes when Trump was in office. There you go. People doing all kinds of polls as to who was responsible. There is no, I'm not really seeing a consensus on Twitter. I think most people are like, we don't really know. There's obviously the bots and the trolls, but most people who are being honest are like, we don't really know. There's a few people saying, oh, come on, it had to be Israel, but yeah. We'll see. I don't know, guys. Maybe we're not going to get an answer tonight. Oh, it's night where I am. It's early morning, but you'd think the place would be swarming with people on foot. Leader of Iran told the Iranian nation not to worry regarding the crash. He said there will be no disruption in the work of the country, and we hope God will return the president and his companions to us. Everyone should pray for their health. But if that's a real statement, so this is from the Ayatollah, there's nothing in there about who survived and who didn't, because he would know if there was really some call that came out. I don't think the Ayatollah would be playing games with this. I really don't. So I don't think if the Iranian leader doesn't know, the ultimate leader, then I'm guessing the interior minister doesn't know either, who allegedly put out information about the call. Unless he's just trying to protect the president's security just for the next few hours while he gets taken to a new location. That is one possibility. Because that's not playing games, that's just being sensible. You know, if you think that that's sensible. Yes, someone points out first assassination attempt on Slovakian MP Robert Fico, and now a couple of days later, helicopter crash of Iranian president. Yes. No suggestion they're related, but that is interesting. Apparently it's a Bell helicopter, by the way, which might mean it's fairly old, being in Iran. It's almost surprising they're not using Russian helicopters, but anyway. Or Chinese ones at this point. There's a Twitter account called Israel War Room. And 4 hours ago, so I think this is before the crash, they posted, I'm looking at the tweet, they posted an emoji of a helicopter. So the account is at Israel War Room, all one word, at Israel War Room. And that was posted 4 hours ago. Now, with no text. That would have been just before the crash, or just after the crash. We don't know. You'd have to check. It might have been just after. But check that out. It was at 10:58 p.m. on the 19th of May. So say 11 p.m. So could it be 4.5 hours ago? If that's in my local time, I don't think we've been going for 4 hours, have we? I think we've been going for 3, maybe 3.5. I'm just trying to look when the first, hold on. The first response with a photo of the president was 3 hours ago. 4 hours ago, someone replied, so what happened? Maybe they posted that just as the story was breaking. I mean, that would be pretty fucking close to being the right timing. And actually, there is a reply from 4 hours giving a sarcastic response, seemingly referring to the president. So yeah, I reckon that tweet might have come out just after the news broke. But not completely sure. Would have to investigate that. Sunflower in chat says, may Allah bless them, save them in this moment, from Bangladesh. Indeed, thank you for the comment. They did just get Iran. Whatever you think about the president, they did just navigate Iran through a major crisis, the likes of which most countries don't have to deal with. There is footage of them on board the helicopter, apparently, just before it crashed. So that must have been beamed out on someone's phone. This is during the day. There was it was a return flight. So it made the flight over just fine. That footage might have been from the first flight. And then there was the ceremony at the dam on the border with Azerbaijan. Then there was a return flight, and that's the one that crashed. So, just putting that out there. Just searching for things on Twitter, but there's nothing new coming through. Someone's saying, why did the helicopter fly at all? How do you even see? I mean, planes do fly through cloud all the time. But yeah, it is not very ideal. Thank you for the comment. Outdoorsy, I can't understand it. But thanks for dropping in. See, I'm not seeing any breaking news that are pegged just 4 hours ago. I'm seeing a Jackson Hinkle one from 11:36 p.m. So that's 38 minutes after the Israel War Room account. And Hinkle normally regurgitates things very quickly. There's some interesting responses about alleged publication from Israel. Account terror alarm, published news for the first time, wrote about failed assassination, president of Iran. Is this a coincidence? I mean, there's some weird fucking, like, shit that came out just before this happened. I mean, that's not a good omen. So, Hinkle tweeted 3 hours ago, and the other one was a little bit longer ago. So, maybe that other tweet was before the news broke. Maybe that's their little way of, like, quiet. You know, Israel sort of quietly likes to take credit for things, right? But we'll see. We'll have to, like, someone will have to back analyze exactly the timeline. But I'm not able to find. Someone published a photo of some Iranians being executed, which is sad. They say Iran executes 500 people a year. Don't actually know if that is in Iran, but they're trying to, politicize this. And it will get politicized both ways, it's just the nature of the news story. Paul Theo says, may Allah be with Raisi. Thank you for the comment. Yeah, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of that tweet. Just gonna scroll down a bit. They've been busy tweeting. Let me keep going down. Gotta refine that first tweet. Christ almighty. Okay, so it says on their account, they've retweeted something that apparently was 4 hours ago regarding the helicopter story. Okay, so just looking at their timeline, there are 3 tweets. I think this timeline's chronological. So the first tweet says 4 hours, and it says, report in Iran, a helicopter from President Raisi's convoy was involved in the accident. -N12. I don't know what N12 means. And they tweeted that twice, and then they did the little helicopter emoji. So the emoji, it looks like, came after the first tweet. Was like at 10:50. Yeah, so the emoji came 8 minutes after. So the news actually broke. The earliest tweet they have on it is from 10:46. Initial report, a helicopter carrying the president of Iran was involved in incident. But where was their source for that? Did they get the scoop before anyone else did? So that very first tweet was at 10:46 on May 19, 2024. And I'm reading this from Australian Eastern Standard Time Zone. Or is it daylight saving? I forget. And let's just go to their latest tweet from 3 minutes ago. And it says it's 3:27. Okay, so the time on display is my time. Right. So at 10:46 p.m., they tweeted that there was an incident involving the helicopter. So if we track that exactly, we've got 11:46 plus 14 minutes. That's 1 hour 14 minutes. Now it's 3:30 a.m. So 3:30. So that's 3.5 hours plus 1, 4.5. So 4 hours and 45 minutes, or about 48 minutes. So 4 hours and 48 minutes have passed since this account learned that something had happened. The Israel War Room account. 4 hours and 46 minutes. So they've had almost 5 hours to find this fucking helicopter. Folks, almost 5 hours. And it is interesting that that account had the news first. I wonder what the first account was to tweet it. That will be very hard to find out. I'm not sure how. You might be able to do like a time-related search on X. I'm not sure. Thanks to everyone who's listening. Iranian intelligence confirms the helicopter of President Ibrahim Raisi crashed. Now this is just from 1 minute ago. But it doesn't cite a person, it's just a random tweet. But interesting that the word crash is used. We will have to keep an eye out in case that statement is repeated and we can prove it's a real statement, because crashed is very different language to hard landing. Visegrad, this is a very like NATO kind of channel, says Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi likely dead after helicopter crash. They say in Azerbaijan. It's Azerbaijan province in Iran, is what I understand. Yes, apparently 3 rescuers disappeared. So this is a little mysterious. Right News TV says if Iran finds out Israel had any involvement in the helicopter crash, expect a big reaction. I don't really want to dwell too much on the Israel thing, but we do probably have to just cover it a little bit because that's what everyone is going to be thinking and talking about. So obviously speculation running wild. Narendra Modi of India, I think that's the real account. Yes, 97 million followers. Deeply concerned by reports regarding President Raisi's helicopter flight today, we stand in solidarity with the Iranian people in this hour of distress and pray for the well-being of the president and his entourage. There you go. Statement from Narendra Modi, President of India. Is he Prime Minister or President? Prime Minister. There you go. Prime Minister of India. Tasnim, this is the Iranian news service. The entry of a very cold air mass will make the search for the president's helicopter difficult. That's probably why it's so foggy. Someone says Israel in chat. Yeah, everyone's thinking it might be Israel, but we don't know. Someone says exact location found in Jolfa forest in Azerbaijan. Helicopter's hard landing took place there. Again, no source. Iran's supreme leader, apparently, I might play the video in a moment. Don't worry, there will be no disruption in the work of the country. We hope God will return the president and his companions to the nation. Everyone should pray for their health. So that suggests he doesn't know. Let me just play the audio for that.
امیدواریم خداوند متعال به سلامتی کامل رئیس جمهور عزیز ما و همراهانشون رو به آغوش ملت برگرداند. البته دعا باید.
So I don't know if that was relevant or not because I didn't understand it, but that could be an old video. That could be old audio, so maybe someone understood what that was about. I only played a part of it. He seemed a little bit relaxed. He's in like a room full of people. Possibly a prayer service, but I don't know. It could be from something else. So we'll just keep looking for news. Seeing some more propaganda tweets. More retweeting of the Narendra Modi statement. On board, President Ibrahim Raisi, Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullah Ahyan, and East Azerbaijan Governor Malik Ramati. And I think there was the Imam from Tabriz as well, whose name I don't know, was also on board. No confirmed news about the president yet, all are speculations. Rescue teams have left the site but have not reached the site yet. Pretty much we're in the same place we were an hour ago when the rescue, or probably more now, the rescue teams are showing up in the vicinity And so they obviously knew roughly where it was. I mean, there were two other helicopters in the convoy. Now, they were probably fairly well separated due to the low visibility, but they would have been able to relay roughly where it disappeared. But, roughly could mean at least a couple of kilometers radius, so a pretty big area to search on foot when visibility is only 30 meters. And there are trees. And, there may be little gullies in the hillsides and things like that where it could be hiding. Very, very difficult. They might not find it until daylight. And even then, if it's going to be cloudy tomorrow, this could go on for half a day or a full day, I don't know, before they find that crash site. I just got a bit of a feeling we might be in for a bit of a wait at this point, folks. Someone reckons they've got some. They're trying to superimpose the approximate site on some satellite imagery, but they give the coordinates 38.684 and 46.527. So pretty steep mountains with lots of sort of gullies and things. So yeah, difficult. There is a copper mine nearby. I don't know that really is particularly relevant, but it's not. It's kind of mountainous, but there are a lot of little communities and buildings and sites of one kind or another scattered through the area. So, and lots of roads. I think it's just the fact that the visibility is so bad at the moment, it will be hard to find. Here's an interesting one. At Iranian request, we are activating the Copernicus Rapid Response Satellite Mapping Service for the helicopter crash with the President of Iran and his Foreign Minister on board, EU Commissioner for Crisis Management, Janez Lenarcic said. So the EU is activating a special satellite service. Now, satellites can be visual, they can be infrared. I don't know if they can really see straight through clouds. I don't think the infrared's going to do that. It's going to see the clouds themselves. But if the cloud's clear, if there's a fire and there's a strong heat signal coming through, that might get picked up on satellite. So, interesting. Interesting that they asked for it. Iran actually asked for this. Now, I've never heard of the Copernicus Rapid Response Satellite Mapping Service, so I'm guessing this is true. It seems like a weird thing to make up. Amjad Hussein says, may Allah save them, inshallah. Thank you for the comment. Tears from Bilon Senegazi. Also a comment from Agaji Agar. Sorry that I can't read it, but thank you for the comment. Don't know if I can translate on there. Ya Allah khair. Thank you for the comment. I can translate it. Another comment about helicopter, and I think a bit of a cryptic comment there about what might have happened. Yeah, everyone's speculating. But I think that's very interesting that Iran is trying to get some help from the EU. Oops. getting dark in Iran. We do have the little video before the crash, but I mean, what is the security of the helicopter? I remember we had the Wagner plane blown out of the sky recently. So, you know, that was a fairly important aircraft and someone managed to get a bomb on board. That was the Prigozhin assassination. Wasn't there a South American leader who was killed in a plane crash, like back in the 70s or something? Been a few important people have died. Arafat was in a plane crash, but he survived. Nigel Farage was in a plane crash and also survived. I'm not sure about helicopter crashes. God is great, says Fatima. Thank you for the comment. Thanks for joining the stream. Like your flag there. Prime Minister of Iraq ordered to help Iran find the crashed helicopter, says Tasnim. So cooperation coming in, but I don't know that, like I said, this is a perfect storm. You know, someone will make a movie about this because this is really, really difficult. Really difficult. It was in East Azerbaijan province. A bit of a rainy area, very steep, kind of high altitude, not really a good place to be flying helicopters, especially in this kind of weather. We have some more comments. Ya Allah, keep Ibrahim Raisi under your protection. Amen. Thank you. Allah bless you and your family. Thank you very much. Ya Allah, give long life to Ibrahim Raisi. Amen. Again. And IRBD says Mr. Vlogger there. Thank you guys for listening. Sorry I can't give you perfect information, but we're just learning on the fly. I think I'll just do a quick look at the newspapers. We'll go to Press TV and I'll just see if there's any news on Press TV. This is English language Iran website. Okay, so Press TV says the leader Ayatollah Khamenei prays for safe return of President Raisi after helicopter incident. So this confirms the tweets about the prayers from the head Ayatollah, Sayyid Ali Khamenei. He has expressed his concern and sympathies for the Iranian nation after the helicopter-carrying President Ibrahim Raisi experienced a hard landing in a mountainous region in northwestern Iran. We hope that the Almighty God returns the respected and esteemed President and his companions to the embrace of the nation. So that is confirmed from the Ayatollah. He further said the Iranian nation should not be worried or anxious. There will be no disruption to the work of the country. Trying to keep things calm here, but it does imply he doesn't really know what's going on. Again, casting doubt over the Interior Minister's claim, which I'm not seeing repeated quite so much now. Let's go to the American one, which is CNN. It's interesting that it was CNN that I first saw that Interior Minister story. You know, we should be a little bit suspicious about CNN putting out little facts that seem, little statements that seem like they might be true, but they're really just made up. 28 minutes ago, Biden has been briefed on Iranian helicopter crash. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre accompanying Biden on Air Force One on Sunday offered no further details. Apparently Biden was on vacation and he's gone back to the White House for an emergency meeting. Again, from 28 minutes ago, Iranian government spokesperson said there is no update. So this is Ali Bahadouri Jaromi. Iranian spokesperson gave no update as of 28 minutes ago. Apparently he's on Twitter, so we're trying to find his account. It'd be nice if they would actually cite the account. But he did say rescue teams are experiencing difficult and complicated conditions. He said it's the right of the people and the media to be aware of the latest news about the president's helicopter accident. But according to the coordinates of the accident site and the weather conditions, there is no news. So it sounds like they have the will to share the information when they find it. I'm just going to go and copy that guy's name because I want to find his account. I want to find the account. I'm not finding it though. I'm seeing his name in other people's tweets. He's probably got like a weird handle that doesn't. Plus, you know, these foreign names get transliterated differently. Black Hawk says, wow. Yeah, so no updates as of 28 minutes ago. So we're just trying to be patient here. And just looking at Twitter. Now I'll go back to RT. We're just doing a scan of the major outlets. I mean, they're probably not going to learn before we do. But anyway. They're confirming, I mean, they're probably getting this off Twitter, but they're confirming or repeating that the EU crisis management team has been activating the Copernicus rapid response satellite service. I mean, maybe the satellite could help if it's got like data from a few hours ago. Maybe it could see where the helicopter was if it was flying above the cloud or not too deep in the cloud. It might be able to see where it crashed. Not sure if the service is that sophisticated, of course. We're just putting that out there. Turkish Foreign Ministry Ankara is monitoring the situation with the Raisi helicopter, hopes that the passengers on board are safe. The country has offered all possible assistance to Iran. I mean, I think it's in the hands of the rescue teams on the ground at this point. I don't think they can really count on any satellites or foreign states finding the plane right now, the helicopter right now. Here's a bit of a repeat from earlier, but I'm going to read it out anyway. And it's from the South Asian Times account. It says, breaking. Iranian official tells state TV contacts have been made with one of the passengers and one of the crew members of the president's helicopter on several occasions. /Reuters. So they're saying multiple communications with at least 2 people who have survived. But the question is, if there have been multiple communications, why haven't they shared more information? I mean, it's probably a very chaotic scene, or would have been, and you don't know how you're going to respond when you're in a crazy situation like that. But probably the first thing that'll be asked is, are there injured people there? What's the status of the president? And given the president is the most important person, if he was okay, wouldn't he maybe say something if he was able to? Just a thought. I don't want to read too much into that, and it is unconfirmed. This account only has 18 followers, so very hard to give that a lot of credit, but it does echo what allegedly the Interior Minister said. So very confusing. And anyone can put Reuters in their tweet and act like it was from Reuters, right? Mafazeb is so sad. It could be very sad, or it could be people survived. We don't know yet. We don't know. I'm seeing another account tweet what I just read out about the 2 survivors and multiple contacts. So I don't know what the original source of that was. That the first tweet could have been just someone copy pasting it. More tweets about that emergency satellite. Being activated. Just reading for a moment here. Could be that there were some survivors and there were some fatalities. If it was a hard crash with several people, not unusual to have some people survive and some people not survive. So that's just the way it goes with air accidents, unfortunately. Just waiting for news about the rescue teams, but it must be very, very difficult. And they're trying to, like, it's not like they're necessarily just walking up a track, you know, they have to bush bash through the forest. And I don't know how thick the forest is. It might not, I'm guessing it's probably not too terrible to move through compared to like Australian bush, but hard to say. Could be quite steep, could be slippery, it's raining. Very hard to look around when you're trying to like not slip over with your torch, and because not only is visibility 30 meters, it's fucking dark. Like, you're not going to see anything unless you point your torch or flashlight, right? But you got to be looking down most of the time to not trip over. So, I don't know if there's technology like to locate almost like sort of a very sensitive metal detector, if you know what I mean, where you can kind of scan what's around you and look for a big metal object, but I've never heard of that. Yeah, I'm seeing that tweet get repeated now all the time. Just interesting there's no news on the president. Hello from Bangladesh. Hello from Gazipur. Black Hawk, he dies in MasterChef. It's a Bell helicopter. It's an American helicopter. Possibly pre-revolution. I don't know. According to tweets, again, unconfirmed. I'm taking things at face value, trying to filter out anything that's obviously crazy, but I'm gonna just play. I think it's just gonna be in Persian. This is looks like a rescuer on site. Vice President of Iran. There you go. So here's a news source. Vice President said contact has been made with two people who were in the helicopter. And I'm going to play the audio in case there are people listening who can understand.
عرض سلام و ادب دارم خدمت شما و همه بینندگان عزیز و میلاد فرخنده آقای ابن موسی رضا رو خدمتتون تبریک عرض می‌کنم. همونطور که مستحضرید امروز از ساعت 8 صبح آقای رئیس جمهور در استان آذربایجان شرقی برای افتتاح سد قلعه‌قیز حضور داشتند و با توجه به مهمانان خارجی و حضور رئیس جمهور آذربایجان برنامه‌هایی که داشتن تا حدود ساعت 1 طول کشید. حوالی ساعت 1 برای افتتاح دو پروژه نفتی عازم تبریز میشن که در پرواز ایشون علاوه بر تیم حفاظت و امنیت پرواز و کادر فنی و کاپیتان پرواز، وزیر محترم خارجه، امام جمعه محترم استاندار محترم هم حضور داشتن. سه پرواز از محل سد بلند میشه تا انشالله به سمت تبریز عزیمت بکنه که خب نیم ساعت تقریبا بعد از طی مسیر حدود حوالی ساعت 1:30 ارتباط هواپیمایی که هلیکوپتری که آقای رئیس جمهور درش مستقر بودند با دو تا هلیکوپتر دیگه قطع میشه. این سه هلیکوپتر با هم ادامه مسیر میدادن متا مابین مسیر در نقاطی که در گزارش‌ها خدمتتون عرض شده ارتباط هلیکوپتری که حامل آقای رئیس جمهور بوده با دو هلیکوپتر دیگه قطع میشه. در همون لحظه این دو هلیکوپتر منطقه رو بازدیدی میکنن، تقریبا 1 رو 20 دقیقه عملیات جستجو رو مستقیم ادامه میدن، منتها با توجه به شرایط خاص و افزایش مه مجبور میشن فرود اضطراری در اون منطقه داشته باشن. از نقاط امیدوار کننده موضوع این بوده که هم با یکی از سرنشینان هلیکوپتر و هم با عزیزان کادر پرواز ارتباط برقرار شده و این نشون میده که ما میزان سختی حادثه خیلی بالا نبوده، چون 2 تن از عزیزانی که داخل این هلیکوپتر بودند در چند نوبت با عزیزان ما ارتباط برقرار کردند. بلافاصله بعد از این اتفاق عزیزان در منطقه مستقر شدند. همه مجموعه‌های امدادی هم
So again, I don't understand the language, so that was some comments, I think, from somebody on the scene from the little video, standing in an orange suit in darkness with some emergency vehicles behind. So, and it's the same journalist who was talking earlier was holding the microphone. So, yeah, kind of, it looks like the rescue base of operation there in the fog. It doesn't seem to be actually raining, but very, very foggy and very dark now too, completely dark. So maybe someone got something out of that, but hello, Adrian Silva. Thank you for dropping in. Yeah, we don't know much other than apparently contact was established with 2 people, but that's that raises some questions. Apparently State TV was reporting that Russia ready to provide aid in searching for the president's helicopter. According to Iranian media, authorities have contacted the people on board the helicopter. So there are, I think, like, this is starting to look like there are survivors. At least 1 crew member and 1 passenger. Now, we don't know who that passenger is. Does back the view that it was some kind of controlled landing in difficult circumstances. It might not be in the forest. There are areas just to the east where there's no forest, so we don't know. And there's patches of forest sort of in between, so we don't know if it's in the forest or not. One of the passengers and one of the crew members. Could that passenger be the president? I think earlier I might have said one of the entourage, but I'm not sure. I mean, a glimmer of good news, at least. And it's just gone after 4 a.m. here. And looks like Army and Republican Guard Corps Rangers have arrived in the area to search. So it looks like they're going to send out swarms of people on foot. There's a photograph of people with their raincoats on. Someone giving a speech. So, yeah, big search party about to move out. Thanks everyone for dropping in. Inshallah ta'ala them, says Kazim Hussein. Thank you for the comment. Thank you, Bruno, for dropping in. And I think I'll probably stop tweeting here. I will shut down the stream. If I hear anything in the next few minutes, I'll restart the stream, but I think we'll probably have to wait for a while before we get news. And I got to go to bed soon. It's a bit hard to sleep when these things are happening, to be honest, but hopefully everybody's okay. Suspect maybe not everyone is, but we will have to learn. So thank you for dropping in, thank you for listening, and we will learn more in the coming hours. I will see you later.